My 11 circle bowl first, and Chennai did bowl first, and didn't that go well? Deepak Chahar, what an incredible effort he put in. And he is a power play bowler. I think that a lot of people have been focusing a little bit too much on what he did in the UAE, but remember that the UAE is not a place that you want to bowl with a new ball, especially if you're not particularly quick. And he's not particularly quick, is he? He's skillful, and this Mumbai pitch at the moment is a place you do actually, in fact, want to bowl with a new ball. But we can talk about that later. But Deepak Chahar thought he was very, very good. Just to go back to the last season with him, and obviously he didn't do quite as well. It's worth saying that he did have COVID coming into that season, and as someone who's had COVID, I can say, well, I don't think it would affect my bowling personally. I'm not sure my bowling would get any better or worse with COVID being involved. But if I was a professional athlete, I could see why that might be a bit of a problem. He didn't have the proper lead into that tournament that you would like. But if you look at him all time, minimum 500 balls. Let's just go. The best power play bowlers in the history of this league. He's got the 7th best average of all time. Now, most of that is over the last few years, and he still hasn't been tested year after year after year. He's clearly a really good power play bowler, and today he was a really good power play bowler. He's a really good power play bowler. Obviously, his bowling was a huge part of this victory, but we also have to talk about Punjab's batting. Now we could talk about the top order and what Chahar did to it, but let's just go at number 7. Jai Richardson bats at number 7 for them. It's worth thinking about this for a moment, because this game was the first time in his professional career he'd ever made a run batting at number 7 in a T20 game. I'm not sure why he did that in Iambic Pentameter. It probably wasn't Iambic Pentameter, was it? Sorry for all you Iambic Pentameter nerds out there. He had made a couple of runs batting at 6 before, so it's not that he can't bat. In fact, he's been quite a good bat batting at number 8 and number 9 for the Perth Scorchers, and occasionally, when he's appeared for Australia and other teams. He can bat, but picking your overseas bowler who has never batted 7 and saying, we'd like you to come to the toughest T20 league in the world, and we'd like you to bat in a position that you've never really batted before, it's ridiculous. I mean, it just shows how bad Punjab's planning is. This is a mistake. It should not happen. How could you win? He's never made more than 33 runs in a T20 innings, and you've got him batting at 7. Today's a perfect example where you need someone a little bit stronger at 7. You need a proper batter at 7, or at least a consistent hitter at 7, or at least someone who had batted before in their life at 7. I actually thought he batted quite well today. He kind of did what he had to do. He was trying to get them to the death so that they could hit out at the death. It's just that there's something very wrong with the batting lineup if he is batting at 7. He'd made 264 career runs coming into this game. Why? Why would you do this? Let's talk about something else weird they did with their batting. Not only is Chris Gayle the greatest opener that T20 cricket has ever had not opening. Okay, that's a thing. KL Rahul then tried a quick single with him. Now, we've all seen a lot of Chris Gayle. We know that there is, on occasions, he will take a quick single if he thinks the next over is going to be bowled by a leg spinner, or if he's hitting a bunch of sixes and he wants to face more balls. Sometimes when he's facing a really fast bowler and he doesn't want to face them anymore, he might also look for a quick single. But quick singles are not his thing. There's a couple of reasons for this. The first is his hamstrings. His hamstrings started to go very, very early on, and he just couldn't make those runs. The second is, and I don't know if this is a Gale or the whole West Indies kind of worked this out at one, if you're going to take a risk in T20 cricket, it makes a lot more sense to take a risk on a 4 or a 6 than it does on one extra run. And it seems like the West Indies have worked this out. For instance, as you can see in this graph that we've laid out before you, run-outs are quite common. Almost 10% of wickets in T20 cricket are run-outs, whereas Chris Gale's at the other end at 2.7%. That's actually higher. It's gone up a little bit. Used to be around closer to 1% for a long part of his career. Chris Gale has taken that form of risk out. He's almost taken, you'd almost say, compared to a normal opener, he has halved the chance that he will ever get run out. That makes a lot of sense. Running quick singles with Chris Gayle doesn't make sense because of his hamstrings. It doesn't make sense because that's not how he bats. It doesn't make sense because he's going to hit 4s and 6s and he's going to make up for it. It doesn't make sense because he's not very quick to begin with. It just doesn't make sense. In this case, he didn't get run out, which is, I suppose, slightly better. So we talked about Chahar, we talked about Jai Richardson, we talked about KL Rahul's ridiculous run out, okay? Of which Ravi Jadeja obviously played a very good part in that as well. Let's talk about the other reason that they got so far behind in this game, and that's because of the power play at Mumbai. Wankhede is known as a batting paradise, isn't it? We expect a lot of runs there, and there has actually been quite a bit of runs. not in the power play. The power plays have been incredible. In fact, CricViz told me that there have already been more wickets this year in the power play at Mumbai than there was in the entire previous season that was played here. And if you look at the bowling average differential, it's massive. People are just going out in this power play over and over again. And they're not even going out the same way. It's not like it's just swinging, although it is sometimes swinging. It's not that it's just seaming, although there's been a little bit of seam. There's even been wickets from slow balls in the power play. MS Dhoni in one of the early games apparently mentioned that the ball was just sticking in the surface a little bit. That would make sense for the seaming and the slower balls, and then you put a little bit of swing on that, it could help. But realistically, this is just fun, isn't it? The power play at Mumbai at the moment is just fun. So the only way that Punjab were going to win this game, let's be honest, was taking a lot of wickets. And they were already kind of out of the game, but they needed to take a lot of power play wickets. Now, Riley Meredith, let's take him away. Arshdeep Singh is quite young, and he did get one, to be fair to him. Joe Richardson is a good power play bowler. I'm not sure that's his absolute specialty. But if you were looking at this on paper, right, and you were looking at this team, you'd be like, oh, we've got Mohammad Shami. Incredible bowler. Mohammad Shami, one of the best test bowlers in the world. Just a top level, incredible. Oh, yeah. As you can see on this graph here, he is historically terrible at bowling in the power play in this league. No, I don't mean ordinary. I mean actually outwardly terrible. Now, these are the guys who've bowled a lot at the power play, right? So there's probably been other guys who bowled a little bit at the power play, weren't very good and disappeared. This is a guy who's bowled consistently at the power play and cannot take wickets. And don't say, oh, well, he was a little bit better last year. Or what. Last 3 years, he's still averaging 37 in the power play. There's nothing you could say about him. He just does not consistently take wickets. I had a look at a bit of analysis from CricViz. He bowls maybe a little bit shorter. He doesn't swing the white ball as much as he does the red ball. But you look at him and you're just like, Simon Doull was talking him up in the commentary. And I don't think Simon Doull is wrong. If you look at the eye test, you would think that Mohammad Shami would be much better at bowling in the power play. He just isn't. And he just hasn't been ever. And again today, he didn't take any wickets. He didn't bowl poorly. He just doesn't take wickets in the power play. It's weird. It reminds me of that GIF from that movie. We're playing it now, aren't we? We're playing that GIF now. I feel like we're playing that GIF now. It makes no goddamn sense. It compels me though. You My 11th Circle fantasy type players out there, let's have a look at a little bit, there was a little bit from this game to take forward for your fantasy tips. Shah Rukh Khan. Now he's going to bat very far down the order. Geez, he's bigger than I thought. He's a strapping young man. We don't say that as much in cricket. We used to say that a lot. There used to be a lot of talk of broad-shouldered young men and strapping men in cricket. It's gone away. It's not going to help you in the fantasy thing, of course. I thought he played a very mature, smart innings. I really liked the way he went about it. He took the game as deep as he could, and then he was going to explode at the end, got away with a couple, and then obviously went out. But he's going to bat further down the innings, but to be fair, if Nicholas Pooran keeps going out first ball and second ball, he might be in a little bit earlier on. But if he does get a go, I think he'll be able to make some runs. So it's worth keeping an eye on him. Moeen Ali. If you don't have Moeen Ali in your fantasy team, he's an all-rounder. He's probably going to bowl quite a few overs in this tournament. He's certainly going to bat at first drop consistently. I think it was Stephen Fleming said that he was brought in to strengthen the batting. I don't know what Bangalore were doing with him. For me, he was always... what I like about Moeen Ali is you can kind of put him anywhere in the batting order, but certainly as a pinch hitter against leg spin and against things like that. But he can play in the power play. He can also bat at 6 and 7. But if they're going to bat him top order and he's going to bowl at least 2 to 3 overs, maybe 4 overs sometimes, he's 100. He should be in 100% of your fantasy teams. If you're not putting him in your fantasy team, it's, I don't know, you either think that the pitch is going to bounce a lot and he's going to get struggled with short balls, which he does, but he can get away with a little bit more in T20 cricket, or you think his bowling is going to get met in every single game, and it's not going to get met in every single game, is it? Although he got a bit of a gimme wicket today. I think he is a fantastic T20 player, and has been for a long time, and as far as a fantasy T20 player, he is my fantasy T20 player. Actually, no, that's not true, is he? If he was really my fantasy T20 player, he'd bowl leg spin. So you made a bit of a mistake there, Mo. But other than that, top quality fantasy player. Deepak Chahar, it's worth thinking about him a little bit here. I think a lot of people perhaps would not have put him in their fantasy teams as much just because he didn't do as well in the UAE. Whether that was COVID related or pitch related or just form related, he might not have just hit that season running. But basically, this is a guy who this is his third time Third season in the IPL where he's looked really good in the power play. He's a wicket taker. You know, from an analytics point of view, he's one of the most important players in the league. Anyone who can consistently take wickets in the power play is whoo. But from a fantasy point of view, he takes wickets as well. Now, if he's going to play at Mumbai, where everyone's taking wickets in the power play, it makes even more sense to have him in your team. But I'm a big fan. I think India should have tried him out against England. I really think that he's a top quality bowler. I think he's done it for enough years now that he really has some really good skill, really good power. There aren't that many guys who take wickets in the power play. He does. It's worth having him in your team. That's all I'm saying. I think I've said it in about 8 different ways, but I really do like Deepak Chahar. Anyway, my 11 circle. Fantasy cricket, get over there, pick your players, come back here, have a look what I say, disagree with everything I say, go back, pick a better team, come back here tomorrow, and we'll see you again.